I feel so alive, Graham, because we are the youth of the nation.
Yes. There's
That's
going to
not
be
even true.
nowhere near it.
And I'm sleeping awake. Do you know that song, Graham?
No, I
Sleeping
don't.
awake.
Nope.
That's the POD song from The Matrix.
Oh, okay.
Arguably one of their better songs.
Hmm.
Today I learned TIL. Today I learned that POD has an album coming out next year. What the fuck?
Hmm.
Anyway, probably should say what this actually is. This is Should I Play This Game podcast, episode 289 for the 30th of October. I had to move a window that is in front of me slightly so I could actually read that properly. Let's not get carried away and let's not think that I actually know what date or what episode number this actually is. Let's continue the train of unprofessionalism that I am notorious for. But as it turns out, you actually knew who POD were.
Yes. So,
What the fuck?
yeah. Yeah.
That was
They were what?
that was
90s, 2000s band, weren't they?
early 2000s in that whole nu metal craze
Mm.
with Korn and Limp Bizkit. They were like a C tier nu metal band.
Yeah.
C tier is maybe too generous. F tier. Booyaka, booyaka, 6-1 nut. That's a fucking terrible song, I'll say that. Jesus Christ. For wrestling songs, that's awful. But anyway. Hey. Stuff.
Great.
I know, right? I was about to say Sea of Thieves. Skull and Bones been delayed yet again. I maintain that fucking thing's never coming out.
Yeah, it'll come out. Just who knows?
No, I mean, it has to because the Singaporean government's going to go yo.
Yeah.
But at what point do they go yo?
Well, the money's probably all been given to the organisation. They probably don't give it as long as it comes out at some point. That's all. Who knows?
Yes.
But that went through some sort of like closed beta a couple of months back, so it's got to be close enough.
It's had a couple of tests, betas, and things like that. But yeah, it literally got announced a couple of days ago. Hey, guess what? I was about to say Sea of Thieves again. Skull and Bones got delayed again. And the whole collective video game industry and fan base went,
Eh.
Shoulder shrug, Skull and Bones. I almost said Sea of Thieves yet again. What the fuck? I'm smart.
Yes.
That sounded like a sarcastic yes, so fuck you. Graham. Sea of Thieves, that can be a title, but I don't know if it's the best one. I think Shoulder Shrug, Skull and Bones, but we can do that later.
We'll get to that later.
We'll get to that later. Hey Graham, have you played video games in the last 2 weeks?
Question. Yeah. Short answer is yes, but let's just check how long it has been since we did one of these. I think it's been 2 weeks.
I think 2 weeks.
I think it's been a standard 2 weeks, I think. Let's just double check. Yes, 16th of October is the last one we put out.
So hey, 2 weeks.
2 weeks.
Go
hey, we finally got one kind of on schedule. that's a rarity. Short answer is yes. Let's go and look at said game list. So yeah, still playing Assassin's Creed Mirage. I'm really liking that game.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think they've kind of got it. They've gone back to their roots a little bit. Like there's still a little bit of the the leveling up you can do with your various weapons and gear and stuff like that, but nowhere near as much as the existing the Odysseys and Origin games. But it seems like
they're not trying to make a Witcher.
Yeah, they're not trying to make a massive game with this one. It's really contained to. So far, it's just been contained to the area around Baghdad, based on the the year that the game's set in, sort of the. So it's just based around that. It seems to be quite self-contained. It's not massive. you've still got the same things. You can climb towers and that kind of thing, and they reveal things around the map, but it doesn't just vomit out icons onto the map. Um, and the way in which the game sort of presents the story to the player is, I think, quite good as well. Um, you're doing a story progression. It's fairly linear in terms of what you do from, because you're basically just given the mission from a couple of NPC characters. You say go do X sort of thing. Okay, cool. I'll go do X, and that's your main quest. And from that main quest, it might sort of have a couple of branching paths that then meet back at the beginning, at the end of the mission anyway. So it might have that you, to get to the end point of this mission, you've got to do A and B. Either both have got to be done in any order before you can get to the end point of the mission, being C, for example. So you might have a couple of those. So it does give you a little bit of flexibility in which one you're doing what order, but you're ultimately going to get to the same endpoint of that particular story mission. And I guess that's sort of where they've sort of, that's the biggest branching nature of it. And I think it just kind of works. It's as I said, like I've said it's self-contained. It doesn't sprawl. It doesn't go on for ages and ages. The missions are, you go to this particular place, you do X at that location, and that's it. It's not as if once you've done X, you've then got to do Y and Z and fucking back to A, B, and C. Like some other games seem to have this weird thing with the mission. We just keep on going and going and going, and just get sort of bigger and bigger, or longer and longer. And each of those missions, or those sort of sub-missions, reveal a clue, kind of a concept they've sort of, which I think they've done before in maybe other games as well. In the Odyssey and Origin may have had some sort of clue concept or investigation. I think is what they actually call each of these things, an investigation. And yeah, so you do this investigation. From that, you'll get, which will be the investigation will be a very generic topic, like go find this person, and you'll have no idea where they are, but you'll go to a particular location. And from that, you'll get these sort of, these clues, which are a bit of a, not quite technically a clue. You're not doing any sort of Batman-style detective mode to be able to detect these clues. They just sort of, you go to a particular person, start talking. So go to an area, talk to somebody, or use the bird, which has got a name and I can't remember, to scout the area and go, I need to go to that place or that location to get into this area secretly. And then go to this area of that particular building, or whatever, to read a bit of paper that gives me the clue, to then tells me, oh, the person I need to go to is actually over here. That kind of stuff. Like, it's a little bit, saying it's a clue is not really what it is, but it's a bit of an aspect of the way in which the story sort of divs out the content, for want of a better term, in terms of the progression of each mission. And it is a bit, contrived and silly, but it works for what they're set up in this particular one. It's so sort of, as I said, linear within that particular aspect of the story, or that aspect of the mission. It's okay. It kind of works.
I feel like they did that in like Assassin's Creed 1 or 2, where you didn't quite know where Full was, so you had to go hang out and wait.
Yeah, for example, you'd have the the eavesdrop missions in the past. They've sort of bring them back to a degree, but they've made them much easier to do, and there's no, for one or two I've done so far, there's no fail state. You can basically literally hide in a hay bale and listen to a mission, two NPCs talking. Okay, cool. Rather than the ones you have to do in the past, you have to, walk behind them and then go into, blend in mode to not be seen if they stop and turn around. Oh, I think I'm being followed. Kind of. None of that's happened so far. Not to say it'll come back, but I think they're going to make those missions, or those types of missions, relatively straightforward. So I just think they've kind of gone back to their roots, but they've left a bit of the stuff in from the more recent games, because you can upgrade your gear and make them.
And there is gear.
There is gear to a degree. Like, there's not a lot of it that I've found so far. You've got your dagger, you've got a sword. That's kind of it. You can get other versions of those, like other versions of those things that do more or less. Some do a bit less damage, some do more damage. but they've all got upgradable sort of buffs with them. So like even the one of the armor gears I've got that if you upgrade it to level 3, I think it's the max of all of them. I think is level 3. Basically means that this thing is basically silent. You can walk around and not make a sound at all. Which is, like when can you you're an assassin? It kind of helps.
you sort of should be like, and then you step on a twig. Fuck.
Yeah. So that's the sort of it says that like doing that sort of thing won't make a noise now. I'm not saying that stepping on a twig wouldn't make a noise, but you know what I mean. Like that's what they're sort of saying is that so this particular piece of gear when upgraded reduces the noise you make, so you can really get up close to the enemies to take them down.
Fuck their shit up, bang!
Yeah. So it's got a lot of things. I mean, as I said, I'm liking what they've done with it. The story's really quite good so far. Like it's not. I think because they've made the thing so much smaller versus Origins, versus Odyssey and Valhalla, that the story is like it's going to be, I think, better because of it. Because it's not going to be so sprawling, so massive. It's a self-contained story that leads up to how this Basim, the character who plays, gets into the Valhalla game that I'm not going to bother playing, but it sort of sets up how he's sort of it's his sort of
bag.
Yeah, like it's his character's origin story, for the want of a better term, essentially. And it's I think because of that. Because they've got a known starting point of that character's introduction into Valhalla, they've got a fairly contained story they can tell here, which I think is working out quite well for them. So
I'd be curious if there's any indication as to how Basim becomes the asshole that he purportedly is in Valhalla.
Yeah, as I said, I'm not going to bother playing Valhalla just to find out what.
And neither of us played Valhalla anywhere near enough to even run into Basim.
Yeah, so I don't know.
Or at least I definitely didn't. I only played it for like 2 hours, maybe.
Yeah, I didn't do it either. So,
yeah.
Maybe it's worth. Maybe once it finishes, I do go back to Valhalla and play it to the point where he comes into it to understand how he's introduced, just to see how they do it. But I don't think I'll do that. But yeah, it's a possible option, I guess.
Anything is possible.
As I said, I'm really enjoying it. I mean, it's good for a couple of hours a night just to jump in, do a mission a bit, do a bit of a side thing to progress, progress some of the non-mission based stuff you can do, and jump out. You don't need to spend 5 hours playing it to get anything really out of it, because you can get out in bite-sized chunks, which, I think it's really good.
Sneak around, stab fools out, bounce.
Yeah, basically. Yeah, essentially that's it. Yeah. Next game is Cities Skylines 2.
Now, I thought I saw you, before we recorded, launch Cities Skylines.
I did.
The first.
I did very briefly, because I wanted to check something, because so I played. Does the Windows Store tell you how long you played a game for? It doesn't, does it?
The Windows Store?
Or the game, or the Xbox thing? Because I'm playing it on the.
There is a part in the game the Xbox app.
Does the Xbox
that
app
may tell you?
I think I've probably put about maybe 10 hours into it, I think. Let's see.
I think if you go to the achievements tab or click on the achievements list, it might tell you your playtime.
I think I know what you mean. Let's see if I can find that in this stupid bloody thing.
But while you're looking for it, reviews have been not exactly glowing.
It depends on who you actually look at.
I
might seem like
largely the performances are, which they came out and said like a week or two before. They were like, "We ain't got this where we want it yet."
Yeah, and that's why I think you should any review. And this is going to sound really weird. Why do I say this? Is you shouldn't take the reviews that complain about performance. Like it is what we knew that going in, that was going to have bad performance.
Hmm.
So I'd be looking at a review based on what the game is actually doing, in terms of trying to play it. In terms of what the game does from the game itself, if that makes sense, rather than the
Yeah,
performance
most
of
of
it.
what I've seen has been like what it's doing is, while impressive, maybe not wholly original based on what the first game did. And then there's the performance on top, which, yes, we knew about, but the extent to maybe which we knew about it or whatever, particularly based on what cards people have and all that sort of deal.
Yeah.
But the console version has been shoved into next year, which, again, we knew about before launch, but particularly when it was at least the intention was to go, yo, console PC, let's go.
Yeah. Yeah, but they did that month. They did that weeks and weeks
Hmm.
ago. They changed that. So again, I wouldn't hold that against it. They're upfront about that. Oh, damn it. I don't know. I know what you're talking about in this bloody app, but I friggin' hell if I can find it. I know I've seen it somewhere. You can get an hour count, maybe, but I don't think this one's going to tell me. So anyway, it
Yeah,
doesn't
it's
matter.
normally when you click on the achievement, overall the achievement list.
Yeah, and I'm not even seeing any on this for this.
Cities Skylines may not have achievements on PC.
Oh, it does. I can see them,
Oh.
but it's not. Oh, there it goes. 8 hours and 43 minutes I played. There it is. Wasn't looking properly. That's all right. So,
You were having a man look at it. Nah.
yes, there's a view there on the front page of it. You could see the list of achievements. When I clicked on Show All, is when it told me go into the actual hour, the play counters inside that. Yeah, that's right. Just under 9 hours I played it. So performance. When I first fired it up, you tried to play the game at 4K, and the frame rate was single digits.
Wait, what are you? You've got the 3080 still?
3080 Ti is what I've got. Yeah, 12 gig.
Yes.
So yeah, it just was unplayable. But they had already put out, as I said, a bit of an optimization, not optimization. They said best way to play this game, kind of a page on Steam. So I followed those instructions, and it's perfectly fine in terms of performance. So it's 1080p. I think it's running 60s. It's probably not quite 60, probably hovering around the 30 to 40 mark in terms of frame rate. But for the plane that I'm fine. I'm happy with what it's doing. I'm not saying it's perfect.
Ray tracing that shit or what?
No, not with that. No, all that stuff is basically turned off. So performance-wise, from what I'm playing at, it's okay. Is it brilliant? No. Could it be better? Certainly. Will they get there? I can hope so. That's the upshot of all of it. They've come up front. I mean, you got to give them some credit, I guess. They said our game's not going to perform well. Rather than it launching and it going shitting to bed, they've been upfront about it, saying it's not going to launch. So you've got to give them some credit, I think, for that. Should you give them some benefit or what's the opposite?
Benefit of the doubt.
Not even benefit of the doubt. What's the opposite of benefit?
Criticism.
Criticism, I guess.
Constructive criticism.
That they should have got it right.
Should they have launched it?
That's exactly what I was going to say. Should they have left it, given a couple of weeks or months, get it better up, and then launch it without having to give the caveat that we didn't get the performance right? That's the opposite side of that. But I mean, at least it didn't land it on people saying it's going to be crap. Not going to launch and no one knows it's shit, sort of thing. We knew going in it was going to be shit, sort of thing. Like it's a weird place to be.
Performance-wise, it may not be crash hot, but maybe are there like sort of bugs and things like that make not necessarily performance, but progression problematic, or is it literally just a performance thing? Everything else seems to be pretty
everything
okay.
Everything else I can see seems to be pretty okay.
So no crashes or anything at this stage.
Not a single crash in 9 hours I played it. So that from that perspective, it's fine. I mean, there could be bugs in the way in which the simulation works, but it's hard to know if that's bugs in the simulation or me not knowing how to play the game properly. Therefore, it's not working the way I think it should. I've done a couple of lookups googling to see, okay, is this the right thing to do? How do I fix this problem? That kind of thing. And it just turns out that I'm not doing things right in the game. So the simulation side of the equation seems to be okay, but I'm not gonna say for sure that's the case. So the thing I wanted to, why I loaded up Cities Skylines, the original for about 5 minutes before we started recording, was to get an idea of how that game progressed versus how Cities Skylines 2 does it. So in the first game, your progression in terms of what you got access to building-wise was based on the population of your city.
Yeah, very Sim City.
Yeah, so you got to 360 people, and you turned into you got a particular name. I can't remember what it was now, and that gave you access to landfill and education part of it. With schools and stuff like that, and healthcare. So they've done it. There's a very similar progression with Cities Skylines 2, but they've changed it now that you get XP for basically building stuff. So when you put down a road, you get XP for building a road. That's how you build up the XP, is by building stuff, building out your city.
Mm-hmm.
You also get XP frequently, like constantly, for population growing. You get XP for your people being happy, constantly getting that.
I was going to say, what's the point of it? There's nothing stopping you from just building a bunch of just dog shit all over the place, racking XP, but then if you're obviously not growing your population, not keeping them happy, and you're just building like a dickhead, then you're really not going to progress that well.
Correct. Okay. So once you get to a certain XP level, you then unlock effectively the same kind of expansion in terms of access to particular buildings that are essentially service-based. So your land, your garbage stuff, your education, your fire, ambulance, those things are tied to that progression. What they've also done is, as a part of those milestone events you hit based on that XP leveling up, you get development points. And that is essentially a research kind of a thing. But it's not as if you've got to wait 6 years for the research to happen. You basically get immediately access to it. So things like example, on the roads, for example, you had to use these development points to unlock really big highway interchanges.
Yeah, highway, freeways, shit
freeways,
like that.
Stuff like that. On the education path, you would unlock things like, and I just did it in the last bit of playthrough, a technical university, which is like a big university that's based on a technical aspect of university versus just a straight up university.
We don't have technical universities over here, do we?
Not names like that, but there'd be universities that have that as a part of their curriculum, but not a university. Yeah. That's all they do, kind of a thing. No,
like that's more a UK or European concept off the top of my head. The old technical college.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
Yeah, right.
So that's just one of the that's what and you get certain, depending on what level you've gone up to, you might get 3 or 4 or 5 or 6 of these development points to put into these particular expanded options, I guess, for one of our terms. Which means what you can end up doing you can end up sort of building your city in a particular path you want to go down. You don't want to give a rat's ass about all the power stuff. Like you start off with the beginning. You start with I think you start with wind turbines and a small coal power plant, I think, or something like that. You can expand to a bigger coal plant or a gas powered plant. Beyond that, you can go to nuclear, but you've got to do upgrade points to get it.
Yeah.
So if you don't want to go down the nuclear power path at all, you spend the points on it. So it gives you a bit more control over what you build as your city, because you can say, I want to focus on this aspect of the development tree and ignore this bit because I've got enough power through whatever I've got and I don't care about anything else, sort of thing. There's not a massive tree on each of these things. There might be like half a dozen or so options each one. Transport, for example, you've got things like you've got to unlock trains. That's an unlock to spend those development points in trains, and then you unlock boats and unlock airports as a part of the transport aspect of it, sort of thing. So it's interesting that they've done it that way, and I mean,
interesting somewhat suggests like you like the idea less the execution.
Oh, it's fine. It's 100% fine. I'm literally saying it's an interesting way of doing it. Nothing more than that. I mean, the way they did it in the past game was your population controlled all that. So it's in putting down a big university gets you like 3,000 XP, so you can really ramp up
Turn that crank.
get that XP up pretty quickly.
What
So
do they do on the whole climate front? Like, obviously, like nuclear power is climate-wise problematic in certain regards. Coal
well,
power.
there's no moral story in this game. It is just a city builder. So
Okay.
you put down a building that's going to create pollution. It's going to create pollution.
Yes. All right. So they're not really sort of forcing you or
No, you can.
giving you benefits or rewards for going. Okay.
No, it's just a build a city the way you want to build a city. So yeah, so the way that I've started playing it is when you turn on access the game, you've got the couple of options. You've got half a dozen, about 10 or so maps you can choose from. There's already some DLC with extra maps in it, but I've not gone down that path yet. And basically on that map will be resources, which is another thing I didn't really get into much with the original Cities Skylines, is that you had industry specializations you could do within the game. Like you could build an actual like a forest lumberjack kind of a person, and put a mark around the area that they could get their wood from, so to speak.
Here's some trees, go cut that shit down.
Yeah, and you'd actually mark out this with a little, with this sort of plot of land kind of a concept. You could say, here's your main building, but here's the thing you can mine from, so to speak. And they've done the same thing with ore production, oil production, farm production. So you've got grain, livestock, agriculture, and there's a fourth one I can't think off the top of my head what it is. And that's how you
dairy.
I think they've doubled that into just livestock. I think so. It's not a
okay.
It's not a particular sort of really specific.
I don't remember that from the first one.
That's what I mean. I think they added that later on in the game through expanding the game's aspect of it. But so in this one, look, for example, you can put down because part of the aspect of making your city grow and be a good city is having these resources being not exported, but mined or tapped or whatever you want to call it, so you can make the base material that your city needs to make X, Y, Z. You don't make the production chain like you do in an anno. You just make sure you're making the base product. Then from that production of that, for example, there's a production tab inside the map, inside one of the menus, that goes through all the various options like wood, livestock, agriculture, oil, stone, well, not stone, oil production. It says how much you're making in your city versus how much you need and what a deficit you've got.
So how big are the map plots for because obviously you'd need a map space that's fairly big to be able to develop a large enough city while still having those sort of rural areas or mining regions where you can get all that shit going too.
So that's another part that I think might be different from Cities Skylines, but don't quote me because I just literally can't remember. And I didn't play it enough to remember. Like
you heard that, everyone. Quote Graham exactly.
When you first start off, you get 1 square of land, which has a pre-built highway through it and an off-ramp to get into your city that you start building.
Huh.
Which is how the first game did it too. That's how it did it.
Oh, did it?
Yeah. And once, as a part of those leveling up I was talking about, you get the ability to buy more squares around it.
Oh, neighbouring plots and things like that. Are they all procedurally generated?
No, it's a set map.
Okay.
So I think I've now gone to. I didn't actually have a. I did. Yeah, I think I've built now. Probably close to 20 or 30 built like little plots, and they take money to buy.
Oh.
So, and you can basically go in any direction of where you start.
Yeah.
So you've got, I think like each time you level up, you get the ability to buy or spend money on up to a certain number of these extra plots. So, and the more you level up, the more you get each time, sort of thing. So the last leveled up, I think I've got the ability to buy 12 of them if I wanted to.
Oh, okay.
And you can just basically build any 12 you want, or buy any 12 you want. And they do cost money, as you can imagine. You're buying basically a big chunk of land, essentially. But that's how you can then start. Okay, I need access to oil. Oh, there's one oil, reservoir 4 blocks that way. Boom, boom, boom. Buy your 4 blocks. I need to buy the connecting blocks to get to that particular bit, and then you're good to go, sort of thing. You can then exploit it, and obviously then specialize in it, get rows to it, that kind of stuff, and then start using it.
Because I was going to say, like, if there's no procedural generation behind the land plots and where they're laid out and so that sort of deal, where's the impetus to, if your first city fails, to maintain that level of engagement rather than have it just be laid out exactly the same way every time?
It's probably possible that these nodes of resources are random, maybe. I don't know.
Okay.
They might be random. I don't know. I'd have to start a new game with the same environment to see if they are. So that might be where the randomization comes into it, where you might do something different, maybe.
So less proc gen and more just sort of random placement. Like the tiles are exactly the same layout wise, but maybe they're in different spots and things like that.
Yeah, maybe that's potentially where the randomization may come from. I certainly couldn't say for sure.
How have you found the economic modelling and things like taxation and things like that? Because that was a motherfucker in SimCity 2000.
Yeah, well, the thing that I'm doing with my particular playthrough, just to get an idea of how this game works and how that all sort of sits together, is I've turned on unlimited money. So
there you go.
By doing that, when you start up a city, you've got options of unlimited money, or the other one was unlock everything from the beginning. So I've done unlimited money, but left the unlock as normal progression.
Unlock all option, unticked. Yeah,
unticked. Okay. So I'm still progressing.
So you go through the progression of unlock everything, then you restart and go right. Let's do this bitch normal.
Yeah, that's my logic. Just understand how the game, because I've not played the Cities Skylines for a long time, and it changed so much from when it was first released to what it is now, with all the DLC packs and expansion packs and stuff that they did. I did take a screenshot of my city.
The original was 2015.
Yeah, and they're still patching it in June. So and giving expansions to it. So they put 8 or 9 years of stuff into that game. And there's no doubt that this, it's a city game. They're not going to change it that much from my city builder. So sort of I find a bit odd complaints. Oh, this is a city game. Yeah, it's kind of in the fucking name. So I'm not too sure what they could really change that would make it so dramatically different, other than being just a better version of what they've already done. But
that's always the challenge with any sort of sequel building is
exactly
how much do you keep, how much do you change, if you change too much.
Yeah, are you actually changing the nature of the game by doing that? Is it then turning into something that sort of thing? So, so I'm just trying to find. I did take a screenshot of my city in the game, but I have no idea where the hell that
the game actually stores
where
the
it
screenshots.
Stores it. So give me 2 seconds. I'll see if I can figure out where the hell this stores it.
See, it's easy with Steam. When you go back to the game overview, it just floats where the screenshots are.
Yeah,
you just go go to folder. I don't even know what the screenshot key is in the Xbox Apple with those Game Pass / Windows Store games.
Here we go. Cities Skylines.
Weird.
Okay. Alright, I'll see. I don't know how easy this is going to be to make this appear on the screen, but I will try.
Once again, live video production, folks.
Yeah.
Will it work, or will it all burn to the ground? Might be an idea for a new game show. Will it work? And get someone to live produce a news broadcast. Man, that'd be actually really interesting. Watch some rando off the street try and come in and work video sliders and shit like that, and accidentally cut to a dog going, hey! Don't ask me how a dog's able to go thumbs up. It's just, yeah. Dog's thumbs up. Boom.
I have found where they put them. Let's see how we can do.
Ooh, nice one.
So I'm going to change to. Didn't think I was going to need this. So. God. I'll just get rid of that.
We're getting the hamster running in the wheel that is Graham's brain live.
I'm trying to do everything.
If you hear the squeaking, it's because he's getting old.
Yep. Very, very true.
Oh, in fairness, you handled that way better than I was thinking. I was at least waiting for a middle finger or a fuck you.
I'm too
I'm
too busy to. I can't do two things at once.
The insult's coming. Insert
to
ellipses here.
Turn that off and cut to that. There we go.
Oh, now my email's in the way.
So that's
right, what are we looking at here?
So that's this. I took one screenshot. There is a cinematic mode in the game. You can actually make your own video, which I was trying to figure out how to do that. I could not for life and figure out how to do it. So I just took a screenshot from way away distance. This is about 25,000 people in this city. So it's not too bad in terms of size.
I literally tried clicking on the picture so I could move it. So is that like that area, the area you have bought, or is that more just sort of like a skybox, like a Halo sort of thing?
So that's the area I bought. Obviously I can't point to it either and show you, but you can, like, when I first started, see where there's got the smoke of that big smoke thing there.
The chimney.
The chimney, that's the main power plant that I've got.
Yep.
Roughly in the middle, a bit to the left of that is where the city started. Is where my initial block was, and I've now bought all around this block. So all the way down to, you can see in the right hand corner, we've got this sort of orangey looking thing. That's the specialization stuff I was talking about.
I was going to say that's like a farm because you've got the unusual, just like semi-city looking roads, and then some of it is just like this weird sort of angular roads coming off.
As I said, just trying to understand what I sort of started expanding and what the hell does this thing do. Bottom of the screen, you can see that's where the ore was. I built a bit of ore production down there.
Okay.
There's livestock and
farmland and shit like that.
I think grain on that right hand one. You can see there's a sort of a small block of sort of half buildings, sort of near this little inlet water thing here, and then up from there's another little orange bit. You can see that's another farmer built just in the sort of, as again, just for, it was a. So each of these places where I've built on has got fertile land you can build on. You can't build them anywhere.
Okay.
There's certain areas you can build on for this livestock and grain sort of stuff. You can only build them on certain locations. Where I've got the ore thing down the bottom, sort of middle bottom there, that again is a certain only can build on that particular place. The only resource you've got oil, which I think is further down to the right of this photo, which I haven't actually built yet, but I've built the plot of land to get to it.
Okay.
Is oil or fertile land, which you've got, livestock,
crops,
like
that
stuff off on it, and you can't really see it because it's stuffy way in the distance here, but you see it up in where this river sort of splits in two and goes to the right and a bit to the left.
Towards mountainous sort of region, yeah.
Between just in that little valley between the two where the water splits is actually a wood production location.
Oh, okay.
There's two forests there. Like anywhere there's forest, you can build better. But anywhere there's forest, you can build that. As long as the thing has got access to forest, you can then basically build this sort of plot around it and go. You can forest from in this area, and you define the area they can forest in. Likewise,
can you replant trees?
No, don't believe it.
Automatically do it?
I think it automatically does it. I suspect there's nothing really implied that. So these areas in the bottom right here, well, the sort of centre right here, where the right hand side of the screen, where I've got these sort of orangey sections. I define those areas. So
Yeah.
off the back of the building, you define what it can use. And
Does
again,
it still do the commercial, residential,
it,
industrial?
it does, but you've now got again, part of the progression through that stuff I was talking about is you've got low density, residential, medium, and high. Three different levels.
Didn't they do that in the first one?
I think they did a bit. I think they did, but I'm not really sure. As I said,
I think that might have been already off the surface. Maybe I can't remember.
yeah, I can't remember. You've also got in this one, and it may have been added to the other one after the fact. You've got office as a fourth, as an extension of commercial in a way, but it's got its own colour. It's like a purple. Industrial is just industrial. Commercial, I think, can do. I think is a part of part of the progression. I think you can have different levels of commercial. I think. So I do actually enjoy playing this game. I mean, I've put 9 hours into it. The way of playing it is obviously, as I said, is just to get an idea of how this thing works. So I've taken away the money part of it. Don't have to worry about money. I'll put the taxation down to 0%, so I've got as many people as I can coming in, sort of thing. I'm not making any money. Like if you looked at
the rich.
If you look at the financial thing, you can look in. I'm still making money because there's still fees being raised by the citizens, but not by taxation. But I'm spending, like, bringing in 4 million and sending out 8 million kind of thing, so I'm just massive loss sort of thing. There are a couple of things about the game that I'm still not really sure about. And there's a couple of things that happen, like, as it's not really particularly easy to see from on this screenshot, but you've got your education stuff, so you've got elementary schools, high schools, colleges and universities. They're the 4 levels.
Mm-hmm.
And you've got to maintain those 4 levels and make sure you've got enough capacity for the eligibility sort of stuff, because one of the things that the game will the areas of, especially the industrial area and the commercial areas will play, we don't have enough. We've got a skill shortage, so you don't have enough people at the right level of education to employed into that particular location. And also the one that I'm sort of struggling with a little bit is in the commercial area. There's an issue that comes up that is they haven't got enough customers, which I don't really understand, A, how that can happen, and B, how to bloody well fix it. So things like that I'm still trying to get my head around as to how exactly they do it, what the game needs you to do to fix a particular problem. So I think we'll do a video on this next week. By the time I had a bit more of a play with it, I think it'll be worth you and I we just start a new city. We'll do exactly what I'm doing now. Turn off the money problem and just have all the unlocks. So you can see that progression. We might choose a different map to see what it can do. But yeah, I think performance issues aside, I kind of like the way they've done this. I like the progression. It gives me flexibility. I don't care about the transportation stuff. Therefore, I don't have to worrying about it at all. So I haven't put any money into it. I haven't put any. They haven't unlocked it for me. But just unlocked it as a thing. So you get this happiness, like this is just a screenshot mode. So in the UI, there's a happiness meter where you hover over it and it tells you what, like they have +8 for wealth, +6 for that, plus blah blah blah, -1 for traffic, which is always the biggest problem in any city. The traffic is always the biggest problem. And in fact, this big, you can sort of see just between the to the left of that farm area is a big intersection of the sitting there. That's a part of the unlock. So part of the development points is putting money into roads and unlocking these big friggin' intersections.
Yeah.
Because once you've bought the land, you can control this main thoroughfare that comes through it. So when I first started, you can see this big road starting in the bottom left, bottom right, going all the way through the middle there. So
it goes off into the distance, and it's like.
So that was already there when I started. That was the input thing. This thing that going up to the right of that is actually a train line, which I say I've not done haven't done anything with trains. So.
Okay, so that's already there.
That's already there. That was pre-built, and I could probably, if I said I wanted to go into trains, I could unlock the train aspect and start doing stuff with trains. What that would mean, I have no idea. you can't really see it in this either, but there's also already a power line that came into it. So when you first start up, you've actually got a couple of options for power. You can just hook into, the outside of the external connection and start importing power without building your own power plants. You're obviously paying for that, but that's an option. You can also start exporting it too. So that's another part of it too. So if you've got excess power, you can export it. So yeah, I think it's got a lot of. It's not as if they've, as I said, they haven't reinvented the wheel from Cities Skylines, so it's not as if it's brand new stuff what we're talking about here. I just like the way in which they progressed. The way progression works. Like I want to spend money or not money, resource these development points on better education stuff, better emergency services stuff, rather than just get access to it once you've hit a certain milestone. Just get access to it, which I think is essentially how the first one, which is why I wanted to check it. So, so most of this city, like you can see, there's a big industrial area around that big smokestack. That's all industrial. So the one thing aspect of this game is there is a wind direction that never changes, which doesn't make any sense, but that's the way the game's set up. That's basically flowing. Wind is blowing from essentially top left to bottom right. Constant direction, never changes. When I first built the city, I had the industrial basically near the water.
It's a bit shit into the water
so all the pollution basically went across the city, and my residents started getting sick. So I bought some more plots and just built the industrial bit to the right. So this city will basically have industrial to the right, residential to the left, and residential down towards the waterfront. So as I said, I think we'll do a video next week. I think people need to. I need to put this in videos so you actually see what the hell I'm talking about in terms of the UI and the stuff like that. So we'll start a new city, but we'll play for an hour or so and just see how far we get. Then we'll jump into my save or whatever is out at that point. And I can show you what the bigger city can look like. But performance issues aside, I think it works really well. Look, veterans of Cities Skylines are going to have way more issues with this game than I do, clearly, because they're going to have way more, investment in what the first game was, and know what its pitfalls were, etc., and be able to compare. Oh, this one's got the same pitfalls or different pitfalls or whatever, or differences don't work. But I do like a lot of things they've done around. The big thing about the first game was the mod support was amazing. There are so many mods that get added to that game that put on so many functionality that the developers themselves could never probably do. And I suspect this will get to that same point. Give it time.
Given the Steam Workshop, absolutely. But whether or not the Microsoft / Game Pass version can access those Steam Workshop mods and things like that might be an issue.
I think my understanding is I read this that they're not using Steam Workshop. They're using something built into the.
They're using your own work.
I think they're using their own modding thing to be able to do that across platforms, including consoles when they come through next year. So the idea will be to have console will have mods as well. So I think that's what I read a couple of months back, that they were doing that for that exact reason. Whether that stifles mod development, don't know. Maybe it will, don't know. But yeah, I'm really interested to see how this game develops over the next 8 years, like the last one was. Will be interesting. When I first got it, I actually bought it on Steam, forgetting it was on Game Pass. So I did a refund. I did a refund on Steam and then downloaded the Game Pass version of it. So yeah, I'm really enjoying playing it. I mean, it's a game you could sort of similar to not similar to, but jump in for an hour or two,
fuck around for a bit and bounce.
Yeah, basically progress a bit of stuff, fix a particular problem or expand a part of the city and whatever, and then jump out and do something else, sort of thing.
I wonder if they could apply like a nuclear fallout style sort of tile set to have like more challenge for that fertile land and infertile land and things like that. But that might be its own separate computational issue. So like you said, the weather's not modelled, which obviously would be yet another drain on resources compared to all the other modelling they're doing.
There is seasons in the game.
Yeah.
So at some point in when I was playing it, I had snow everywhere on this flat part you're looking at, and then it just sort of disappeared up the mountain basically as the next season came along. But I don't think it necessarily
like a
changed.
dynamic weather
And
or wind sort of model and things like
yeah,
that.
like as I said, the pollution direction, air pollution, is going in one direction steady from the game with the very beginning of the map. Yeah, so I don't. There's been bad weather, there's been rain, there's been snow. Like there is those seasonal things.
Alien invasions?
I think there's a disaster thing I turned off. I think there's a disaster of some level.
Damn it.
But I don't think those things affect the city day to day. If that makes sense.
Yeah,
I don't. If there's winter, all you can see on the only thing I've seen from when it was winter was I saw plows playing in the streets so that people could drive on them. So there was that sort of thing. But I don't think it necessarily means that the farm over here has less production because it's in the middle of winter. I don't think it did that. I could be wrong, but I mean, things I didn't have that built by then, so it could affect that. I don't know.
That might be more a Frostpunk thing as well, like
the
intensive simulation of weather impact.
I think when you have city builders that are more contained in terms of scale and size can do that kind of stuff more. I think versus what this can do. But as I said, I didn't have most of this stuff built when that came through, so it's entirely possible it does affect it. I don't know. But yeah, we'll do a video next week as a part of on our YouTube channel. We'll do one on that just so we'll play it for a bit and just see put all this stuff into a bit more visual and on the moment thing. But yeah, I'm really kind of digging a lot of it about what it's doing. So. But yeah, that's is Cities Skylines. Now let's see how I get back to. I want to go back to that, and I want to do that. Oh, look at that!
There you go.
There we go. All right, so still playing Cocoon.
Fucking A.
I've gone. I don't know where we got to in the little in our video, but I think I'm in now to the low 30s in terms of that percentage marker. I don't know, whether that means it's if that's a story thing, or I assume that's just the completion is 30%. I'm guessing so.
Of the story, yeah, or the quote unquote story. That doesn't include the
all the side stuff that you can pick up.
Collectible shit.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Yep. Yeah. I'm still doing that game, so that's again jump back into that. One I have played this game a little bit, and I actually played this game a little while ago and sort of forgot that I played it because it was part of before I had my various trips away, so I sort of lost track of it. So this is essentially it's an RPG like a Japanese RPG style game, but it's believe it made by a Canadian team.
It's made by the developers of The Messenger.
Yes.
The ninja platformer from a couple of years back.
Yeah.
And it's sort of their take on a JRPG.
Yeah, and it's the reason that I jumped into it is the art style is really, really nice. It's top down. It's all turn-based combat, which I'm not a big fan of, but it's okay so far. Being a Japanese JRPG, there's a fucking shitload of reading when you're going through dialogue trees and stuff like that. You play as one of these characters. As I said, I haven't played it for a little while, so I've forgotten their names. You can choose which one you play as, but you're always playing as. There's always two of you in playing in the game, sort of thing.
Yeah.
You get a sort of. I think you might expand that party as the game progresses. But I don't play those sort of games at all. But just the art style took my. That looks really interesting and neat, and I really do like it. It'll be something I'll go back to at some point. But yeah, not for any time soon because I think I've got enough other things to play between now and then. But yeah,
I've got it installed. I just haven't got to it yet.
Yeah, it's a really. I'm not too sure it's a particularly long either, because I think it's a not 100-hour kind of a.
20-ish off the top. How long to beat has main story 27.5, main plus extra 34.5.
Yeah, so it's not as
completionist at 41.5.
Yeah, so it's not a massive one of those types of games where they can be much bigger than that in terms of hour counts.
Hmm.
So yeah, from that perspective, I think it's more of a smaller one of those things, which I think has appeal to me. But yeah, as I said, haven't played a lot of it so far, but really enjoyed what I'm playing so far of it. So yeah, that is basically my um, what I've played.
Last
Yeah,
couple of weeks for
last
you.
couple of weeks. Yeah. Beyond that, not much more.
No
So
viewing, no none like that.
nah, not really.
Hmm.
So I guess your stuff.
Yep.
Here I go.
Hey. Mortal Kombat 1. The technical shit show on this one continued unabated. I had 2 crashes within a 2-3 hour span playing Invasions.
Okay.
So that was fun. It actually does have towers kind of like Mortal Kombat 11, so I was wrong
Okay.
there.
Yep.
But they're more just sort of weekly, daily. There's hourly, weekly, and daily towers.
Oh, really? Okay.
But the extent to the difference between them and things like that seems to be a hell of a lot more limited.
Yep.
Um, I dug the invasions mode. I was getting to the point where I was knocking off fights in less than 10 seconds and within 2 combos.
Okay. Yep.
But when you hit post game, like each season, they run a different invasions mode with a different boss and all that sort of stuff. Um, Once I beat the invasion, the seasonal boss, you get what's called Netherstone, and you
Mhm.
can go back and unlock and open up different pathways you couldn't open before.
Oh, sort of Metroidvania-ish in a way.
It's more just here's a locked door. You can't open it yet. Come back when you've got the key.
Oh, okay. Yep. Very cool.
Yeah, and basically every fight behind those locked doors are just fucking grinds.
Oh, okay.
Like the fights are way longer because the characters have way more health,
Yeah.
much higher defense. Because you get skill points or you get like talent points as you go up levels. There's a level cap of 30,
Mhm.
and you can get yourself to a point where you can have like over 3,000 health. Where online most characters go between 950 and 1100.
Okay. Yep.
And then you can also up the defense so that you're not taking that much damage of that massive amount of
Yeah.
health,
Okay. Yep.
and up your offense so you're knocking fools out with like 2 combos.
Yeah. Okay.
Um, but yeah, just that grind and how long it takes is like, yeah, no, I'm done with this.
Okay.
I've got it still installed for reasons I'm not quite sure of. Because it's not like I'm going online, because people who are playing online are fucking savages and just able to bust like 50% combos. Omni-Man, which is the first character on the character pass, the main dude or the main bad dude from the Amazon Prime animated series Invincible.
Yeah.
New season of that coming out, I think, next week. So that's pretty cool. Omni-Man hits within the next couple of weeks. So I'm curious about him. But yeah, man, people in that thing are fucking savage. So I think I might be done with Mortal Kombat 1 for now.
You've been through the story, haven't you? I assume.
I've played through the story, yeah.
Was it good, bad, indifferent?
At the time it was fine. At the time I was enjoying it.
Yep.
But then you start listening to, like, for lack of a better term, spoiler casts. You start thinking about it with any greater level of criticality other than this is fun, and it all falls apart.
Falls apart. Yeah. Okay.
There's elements of it where I was like, yeah, right, the fuck. But it was engaging in the moment. If you think about it too hard, then yeah, that's where it crumbles. But
Yeah.
otherwise, it was fun.
Mhm.
Good old Wo Long. I have also finished with this, and also speaking of shit shows, technical shit shows, I had this crash twice within the space of about 2 or 3 hours as well. So it's in a better state now than what it seemed to have launched in, which in a lot of ways couldn't be hard, or shouldn't be too hard, because it launched in apparently a fucking terrible state. It's not quite what it could or should be, but it's still a really good one of those.
Yeah. Okay.
It takes that sort of Neo formula there are elements of simplification here and there.
Mm-hmm.
But it obviously brings in the Sekiro parry/deflect, which is pretty crucial to succeeding in boss fights.
Mm-hmm.
So if you don't get that done, if you don't get that down, which that's what that first boss is a skill check for,
Yeah. Okay.
you end up being kind of fucked.
Mm-hmm.
I got most of it done with the exception of sort of more completionist or collectible achievements. I didn't get them done. I had one mission left. There was a few post-game missions that came up. And then there was a boss rush where you get 6 progressively harder bosses from the campaign that you have to knock off in one life, and you only have one set of health potions.
Oh, okay.
Yep. I think the furthest I got was maybe the 3rd boss, and I had no health potions left. So I'm like, I'm done. I think there are some drawbacks and some flaws here. Fortunately, the deflect window is mostly fairly generous.
Mm-hmm.
There are times where it is less generous and you feel like you get fucked a little bit. But for the most part, I really, really enjoyed it.
Mm-hmm.
As far as a Souls-like in this year of 2023, it's probably the best one I've played so far.
You've not played Remnant 2 yet, have you?
I have not started Remnant 2 yet, and I also haven't played Lies of P yet.
Yeah, okay, yep.
And I haven't played Lords of the Fallen, but that's gotten pretty mixed reviews, so I don't know if I'm going to actually play that. Lies of P I've got installed on Game Pass. Remnant I'd pre-ordered.
Yeah.
And that's installed. That's literally that and Ratchet, the next 2 main things on deck that I want to get to, which is part of the reason why I have my PlayStation 5 controller in here so I can play Ratchet on that.
Mm-hmm.
I've also bought the 2 Spider-Man games on Steam because they were on special this weekend.
Oh, the first one and the
Miles Morales.
Miles Morales, yep.
So I grabbed those because Spider-Man 2 is out on PlayStation. I don't plan on getting it on PlayStation. I plan on buying it on PC when they eventually do that port.
When it comes out in next year or the year after. Yeah, I'm
probably
kind of in the same boat with that too. I've not turned on my PlayStation 5 to play a PlayStation game on it in probably 6 months.
Last time I did was when I was sick.
Yeah, so I'm not sure. It's turned a bit of a white elephant for me. I just don't use it at all. And if they do,
I'm just more comfortable playing games at my desk. I enjoy playing games at my desk more than I do at the couch. Like the screen's nice and close.
Yeah, well, I'm not necessarily playing on at my desk, but I prefer to play with the Xbox controller. So buying it on PC and using an Xbox controller has more appeal to me than playing it on a PlayStation controller. So yeah, more than happy to sometimes wait for the PC release of these games. But is that special still available? Because I saw it the other day and I thought,
it is.
It is. I might do that this afternoon. I might grab that.
It is still on the store. It is 3rd of November is when that comes off sale.
Comes off sale. Okay, so I've got plenty of time. Cool.
40% off on both Spider-Man Remastered and Miles Morales, which both ports came out last year.
Yeah, and they're
on PC.
And they're both looking at it earlier. They were both pretty positively at the moment. They're highly rated.
The ports are reportedly very, very good.
Very good ports. So
very good ports. And I haven't played Spider-Man, and I haven't played Miles Morales, despite the fact I bought the special edition on PlayStation 5 of Miles Morales when I got my PlayStation 5 to get the remastered Spider-Man, and then proceeded not to play it. My mate currently has that version of mine. So yeah, Wolong, pretty good. A good one of them. Ooh, subpar pool. I very much like this game. It mixes mini golf and pool in a really interesting way. And one of the biggest things about this is that it's the next game from the developer of Hold Down, which was the iOS sort of puzzle game where you shoot balls into basically a chamber, break a bunch of rocks and shit, and then progress. I have all the achievements in this game now. I got them within about 6 hours. For as big as the unlock screen is, or the screen where you select cards for each of your quote unquote runs, there isn't as many unlocks as you'd think. Now, whether that's because obviously I'm playing that on a 4K display or not, who's to say? But it is. I really enjoy it. It's available for $8 on phones, on iOS at least, and you don't have to pay extra for the iPad version, which is nice. Haven't played it on the phone yet. I've just played the PC version, which is $14.50 off the top of my head on Steam.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, that thing's cool, man.
So what do you?
Oh, but
You obviously is it golf and pool combined or?
it's probably 70% pool, 30% mini golf.
Okay.
In that you have multiple balls on the table, but you only have a couple of different holes that you can hit them in. It's not like it's like a perfect rectangle. There's 4 holes in each corner.
Yeah.
Like some of the courses get weird and a bit fucked up in shape-wise, procedurally generated stuff there. Yeah. I've started looking at other pool games on Steam, so I'm like, I want to play some pool. But then I'm like, no, wait, no, I don't. So this thing's really cool. I played on the last 2 Friday Night Funs. On Friday, I played it purely for Friday just gone. I played it because I'd finished. I played in one game I got coming up long enough where I'm like, yeah, let's do something else. Oh, wait, let's play more subpar pool. So I did. And then I closed that after about 2 runs and then moved on to the next game, which I'm going to get to in a bit as well. Part 4, the dungeon. Now, this is a game we did a quick checkout. Almost got the branding mixed up then. We did a checkout of Part for the Dungeon last week. It is up on the YouTube channel. I've since finished it and got all the achievements in it. I dig it, but there is an increasing reliance on trial and error to figure out what you need to do to get the crowns. And it kind of gets annoying.
Okay, yep.
And sort of off-putting. Like they get more and more...
I thought it was
complicated is not the word.
I thought it was just shot-based, like get it in 6 shots and you get the crown.
It is shot-based, but trying to figure out how to, like, which parts of the course you need to actually adhere to and all that sort of stuff and that you need to do.
Yeah.
So the trial and error of, okay, this course looks kind of fucked. How do I use the abilities to make sure I don't need to use all of these shots? Which parts, like, do I need to hit this switch to do this? Okay, no.
Yeah, okay.
How do I go through and use the abilities and exploit the hole to be able to get the crown on each hole?
Yeah, yep.
And it becomes fairly trial and error in how that sort of plays out, which, like I said, it sort of gets annoying and off-putting after a while because sometimes you're repeating the same hole a few times. But that's also if you're an idiot and you have to go after the crowns because you want the achievements and all that sort of deal.
Yeah.
And the costumes. You don't necessarily need to do that, but I want to because you kind of want to get as much out of that. There's 4 courses, for lack of a better term. And when we did the video, I got through the first course.
I think
with all the crowns.
I think we looked at the second one briefly, didn't we? I think
we may have touched. We looked at the second one to see if the dog got kidnapped again.
Yeah. Yep. That's right.
And I think to see what maybe the first hole actually was.
To see if it was a theme-based sort of thing. Yeah. Good. Yeah. Yep.
Each course after that took me about an hour-ish.
Yeah. Okay.
So same number of mini courses, same number of holes essentially, but sort of.
So was any new mechanics introduced? Because I think in the first one we looked, there were switches to sort of hit. You could buy arrows, bombs, and I think there was all we could buy in the first one we did.
I think so.
So what else did they add to mix up that second, third, and fourth sort of areas?
You got like a little gravity bomb or a gravity glove where if you threw it to a certain space, it would drag an item to you.
Oh, okay.
There was a laser, a wand, for lack of a better term, that shot a laser that did the, for lack of a better term, puncture I was asking about with the arrow, where you literally just fire in a straight line no matter what's in front of you.
Oh, it took out fences and whatever. Okay, yeah, yep.
Not necessarily. It doesn't take out fences. You get a point where some of the bogeys are actually on boxes.
Oh, okay.
So they're upper level.
Oh, okay.
And then you have to figure out which of the bogeys you can take out the box for and just hit them after that, or if you need to use them once you get higher, like a higher level up geometrically.
Yeah.
Geographically.
Yep.
Yeah, like it. I think it's pretty cool for what it is,
Mm.
and there's certainly some interesting things there, but that trial and error sort of really drags it down a little bit.
Hey, one of the things I sort of noticed as you were playing it was because the way their perception, the way they draw in the environment, it's hard to know if some areas were blocked in terms of getting through a particular area because it looked like it was like a wall that wasn't really a wall. So like it had some of that, the way that the art was, or the way that the perception, like the angle which they sort of.
And sometimes that affects the angle of the shot too. Trying to figure out, because if you like hit the ball on just slightly the wrong angle, you'll just miss the hole.
Yeah.
So then it's like, fuck, I fucked the angle up.
Yeah.
So now I've got to redo the hole again, or I've got to go bounce out if I don't have any restarts, and I can't be fucked finishing this hole and restart the whole mini course to do
it. Yeah.
Yeah, solid. Absolutely solid. But, oh, that's my mouse. Okay, so that I keep forgetting that I got me a new mouse, the G502X Plus, the wireless version. After a few minutes, it turns itself off.
Okay.
So when I go to move the mouse, it turns back on. And it pops up saying what sensitivity is. I bought I think they call it the Power Play or Power, whatever. It's their wireless charging system. Which basically you get the mat that has the wireless charging. You get a little puck that goes into the mouse, which is this little black thing. And there's some mouse pad surfaces that come with it. They had a really strong sort of rubber smell to it, and I didn't really like it. So I'm like, I wonder if I can just put the actual like charge base under my existing mouse pad and have that work, and it does. So I literally just like the other two surfaces are literally on that chair, but I've just put them back in the box, and I've got the surface under my existing mouse pad. I like it. It's nice. Anyway, Lappin. Speaking of trial and error, so this was in early access for a while. It came out earlier this year. You can see there, 29th of August 2023 is when it came out. Cute little bunnies jumping on platforms and dying a lot. It gets a sort of Super Meat Boy vibe in some of the levels, particularly the platforming sections. It tries to mix story and platform, like difficult platforming like Celeste or Ori did.
Okay, yeah.
But some of the story sections are really fucking long. And some of the platforming sections also demand a level of precision and timing that the game barely allows.
Yeah.
And I had it also take multiple incorrect directional inputs too.
Okay, yeah.
Which I don't think is a function of the controller, because I try it in Mortal Kombat 1. I have the moves I'm doing come out correctly every time. So it's not like it's that sensitive on the controller. I was wearing thin on the game after the first half. Partly, you see the side tracks where you go and get the collectibles. And there's achievements for getting every collectible in each chapter. And I was wearing things because I was doing that, but the story, like I said, the story stuff was sort of getting in the way. I hit a boss escape section towards the end, and I actively started hating it.
Yeah, okay.
Because of the very small timing window, the just incredible precision that it was asking for, that it wasn't really pulling off. And then you couple that with like directional input errors coming through, things like that. It's like, fuck you. I was getting really quite annoyed playing through that boss section. There was an additional little sort of half-hour 6th chapter after that, which I played through and it wasn't too as bad. Still got, again, some incorrect inputs coming out of the controller when I was trying to do the jumping puzzles, but it wasn't as bad. But man, when I hit the one boss section I'm talking about, I actively fucking hated it. I was ready to just close it and delete it, but I'm too much of a stubborn asshole to do that. So I'm like, all right, fine, fuck this. You're not going to beat me, game. I'm going to beat you. So I played this for a little bit again on Friday Night Fun, back when it wasn't quite so annoying and shit. Um, and like the section I played on Friday Night Fun really does show off how much and how pervasive when those story elements come in, just how much it derails the forward momentum on the platforming stuff.
So when you say the story, like obviously you're doing platforming between story beats, and the story beats just cutscenes or just a lot of talking? What are the?
A lot of talking.
Okay, so you just got to read a bunch of stuff before you get onto the next bit of platforming section. It could be.
Yeah. And okay. There's like unlockables that come from developing your relationship with the characters, with the other rabbits.
Mm-hmm.
So you can choose to cut a conversation off and just go, right, cool, peace out, I'm bouncing.
Yep.
Literally and metaphorically.
Yep.
But in order to get some of those, like to get those unlocks and to fulfill that relationship stuff, you have to keep the conversation going and basically exhaust the conversation tree.
Okay, gotcha.
So there's that, and then when you exhaust those, when you get those relationships up to a certain level, it unlocks memories that you can play through, which are very much like 70%, maybe 80% narrative, and 20% jumping around doing shit.
Yeah, okay.
Which after I got a couple of them, and it got to a point where I was like, "Fuck this! I'm not doing this anymore."
Yeah,
I'm not doing these.
Just where it's working by the sounds of it. Yeah.
Yeah, big time. And maybe part of that was me basically going, fuck this, I'm going to marathon through this shit.
Yeah.
Because it ended up being like 6 hours. So I played it a couple times after work this week and then smashed the rest of it on Saturday. That may have been the wrong decision, but it was like, by the time I was playing a little bit on Saturday, I'm like, I'm kind of done with this. I want it to be done. So yeah.
It does look very good. It does look very good in motion. I'm just looking at
it has a very nice art style, very nicely animated, somewhat Ori-like art style.
Ori-like in a bit, so the pastel painterly covers of it, but it does look quite good in motion. But yeah, it doesn't.
And like when the platforming sections, even the challenging platforming sections, when they work and the input direction, like the directional input doesn't come out fucked, and that. Some of the it's got some escape sequences like Ori, but there's a forgiveness to some of those sections that while it still maintains a level of challenge and difficulty, it basically doesn't fuck you if you screw up and slightly misstep or stumble and basically kill you.
Yeah.
Whereas this does.
Yeah.
But when it's moving well and you get you're not having those issues, the platforming sections are enjoyable. It's just dying over and over and over and over and over. Like, there's an achievement for getting 1,000 deaths.
Yeah, okay.
Which I didn't get. I got the 100 and I got the 300, but I don't know how many I got total.
Yeah, okay.
So, we had a comment on one of the videos we put up a while ago. I can't remember which specific video. But there was a request asking for us to play Alien Isolation. So I'm like, all right, cool. Bought it when it was like $15 on sale a couple months ago, and I was. This is what happens when you don't really plan what you're gonna do on for the Friday show, and you don't stumble into demos and shit like that. You kind of like, oh shit, what am I gonna play in the moment? It's like Alien Isolation. Let's start that. So I played about the first hour or so of Alien Isolation. When you're in game, it runs really, really well. When you're in cutscenes, it runs fucked.
Okay.
Like the frame rate cuts in half or some shit. It's weird. I don't know what's going on. Towards the end of the time I played it on the Friday show, I literally had the first partial encounter with an alien. Where a dude I was rolling around with got basically hooked and dragged into a vent and smashed. I don't know. You don't see what happened to him after he gets the bloody tail through the chest. I did have two somewhat scares. One good one when a wooden plank collapsed under me.
Okay.
Which I think that's mainly the main reason why someone was like, "Hey, you should play Alien Isolation." They just want to see me shit myself. And because I did something, I don't know what I did, but because I maybe hadn't done anything basketball related up until like maybe the week before that Teachers Games tournament. My shoulder's been off, on and off since.
Mm-hmm.
And like if I like slip or if I jolt unintentionally, it'll hurt my shoulder.
Okay.
So when I jumped, when I fucking fell down, like this plank collapsed under me. I was like, ah, shit! And then my shoulder was like, oh. But yeah, I didn't realize there was some immersive sim elements where there's like a bunch, like you get containers and drawers and shit like that you can go into and get shit.
Okay.
But yeah, I've only played it for about an hour or so. I'm going to keep chipping away at it on the Friday show. I'm not going to make it this is what I'm playing for the entire thing. It'll be, hey, I've stumbled across this, and if there's nothing else I want to look at, then we'll play Alien Isolation for about an hour or so.
Yeah.
Apparently about 22 hours, so it might be about 22 weeks of me playing Alien Isolation. And the final game I've played this week was one we were talking about doing a video for. Hexarchy. Now, this game mixes 4X and sort of deck building.
Mm-hmm.
Which I thought, that's really interesting. I've always wanted to try and get 4X. And like when Slipways really dragged me in because I thought Slipways was that sort of an offshoot of that 4X formula, which to an extent it is. I don't think I understand 4X games. I might maybe be too stupid for them. So I played through the starter campaign, which is your basic tutorial.
Mm-hmm.
First one was the military victory. I'm like, all right, cool. There's a city here. Go fucking smash it. All right. I kind of stumbled my way through it, not really understanding what I was doing, but still managed to do it. Then it was an economic victory, which you're given a bunch of objectives, so it does make it a little clearer what you need to do in both of those. So I'm like, all right, cool. And then it was like, okay, this is the third mission was get the requisite number of victory points. And that's where I was like, what the fuck?
What are victory points?
So certain actions, whether it be how many hex, because it's hex, but it's on a hex-based grid.
Mm-hmm.
Certain, like if you control, it's based on how many grids you control, how many cities you've crushed, how many cities you have, and there's an economic or happiness factor of that. If your people are happy, you get some victory points out of that.
Mm-hmm.
So it's the closest thing what I can imagine right now, the main campaign or a main game being. And one of the biggest selling points it has is it's 4X, but a campaign is done in within an hour.
Yeah, rather than
have it be 20 hours and then have
hours.
it fall on its ass.
Yeah, yep.
So there were four civilizations total on the map that I played for this last tutorial mission. I was one of them, and then there was Russia. I was Greece, and then there was England and someone else.
Mm-hmm.
Fortunately, the only victory condition was for me to get 60 victory points. Had that not been the condition, I would have got fucking ruined. Russia, fortunately, I think because they happened to get placed in the middle of the map, got fucking destroyed and did worse than I did. Fuck you, Vladimir Putin, maybe. But I finished third of the 4 civs when I got the 60 victory points. The other 2 civs ahead of me basically doubled the number of points I had.
Okay.
So part of it is I'm curious if the AI has advantages on getting, like whether it be discoveries, whether it be wonder building like you get in Civilization, things like that, that they're on an accelerated pathway or an accelerated treadmill to what you are. Because I got fucking ruined. Like, again, I don't know if it's a function of me just not knowing and not fully understanding the 4X stuff, or if it's literally just an imbalance in the AI design, or maybe it's a difficulty function or factor. I tried saying the word function, I tried saying the word factor, both at the same time, and that's where it become Functor. Because I'm smart. Has a very nice art style, very nice, bright, colourful art style. Oh, that's the other thing about Lappin, real quick,
Mm-hmm.
is that sometimes, particularly during that that boss escape sequence, sometimes all the graphical flourishes going off made it really hard to tell what I was fucking up against, and then not knowing what was
Okay.
ahead of me and getting fucking smacked and killed.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
That pissed me off too. But now that I've played through this starter campaign, most of the rest of the game seems to be like a, for lack of a better term, weekly challenge or online and things like that. I don't know how much I'm going to be able to go back to it and either understand or enjoy what I'm doing, because either I just don't fully get the format, which I've never really fully because obviously 4X games have such a commitment requirement to them, like Civilization and things like that. I've never really stuck with one for too long.
Yeah.
I played some Civ 2 when I was like in high school. I'm like, hey, I'm pressing keys and moving, go me, and probably just doing a shit job. But now you try and understand it, and it's like, woof. I don't know. It might be a little bit beyond me. Who can say? Maybe we do. Maybe that can be our slate for next week. Is we do, because now I've actually, because I booted this up on Friday Night Fun. I got to the tutorials. I'm like, oh wait, this might not be that interesting to watch. Let's bail on this. Maybe next week we do Cities Skylines 2 and I try and do a quote-unquote run on Hex Archie, and you can laugh at my complete inability and incompetence in 4X format.
Sounds good.
That could be entertaining.
Sounds good.
All right, that's what we've done for the last 2 weeks. How about, Graham, we hit the beginning of the end? I don't know why, but I want to bring dabbing back. I think it'd be funny.
Has dabbing really left us, though?
You don't really see people dab anymore.
Yeah, true.
I haven't seen it for a while. It was a real intense thing about, what, maybe 5 years ago, you reckon?
Yeah, between 3 and 5, yeah.
And then maybe Marty Jannetty killed it. Old wrestler who basically got wasted before an indie show and just started dabbing in the ring. That was the extent of what he did in that match. There's been video game news stories. We discussed the funniest one already with Skull and Bones. We're not going to go into the rest of them. I've got a few must-listens I will mention momentarily. Do you want to maybe look at what's coming for November?
Yep, I'm looking at the list right now, so yes.
Are you looking at the same list as I am?
The Wikipedia page?
Yes.
Yep, that's where I am. Yep.
We're absolutely getting our own release list. We're totally not just jacking Wikipedia's. That's not true at all. The one thing that's coming out before the end of the end of this month that has an interest, at least for me and possibly for you as well, is Jusant. The Don't Nod climbing game. Going to be on Game Pass.
Yes.
As well. There was a demo. I didn't want to play it because I'm like, yo, this looks pretty interesting and pretty cool. I want to experience it myself.
Yeah, I downloaded the demo and then realised it was on Game Pass. Okay, no point sort of playing it kind of thing, so I just left it. But yeah, I did it for the exact same reason. It looked very interesting, so yeah.
Yep. So that's coming out on the 31st. So we're Tuesday night, Wednesday morning, our time.
Yeah, Tuesday to Wednesday, depending on when that actually unlocks. Yep.
Indeed. The start of November makes November look like it's going to be a pretty big month. And then it fizzles out huge. I forgot that there was an Alien Hominid remake being done by the Behemoth. So that's coming out on the 1st. My Time at Sandrock, Graham.
Yep, that was pushed back from the original release date for that was sometime in September, I think it was, and they pushed it back a little while back. So yeah, that's now coming out. That's coming out of early access to 1.0 on the 2nd of November. So yes, I'll probably get it back. I did play it originally when it first came out, like in early access, but then sort of stopped playing because I wanted to let it just do its thing and let it finish. So yeah, I have played a little bit, so I'll resume that or restart that.
That's always the difficulty with early access games, and like that's where like when and if Satisfactory eventually comes out in 1.0, My biggest curiosity is how much time you're going to actually spend with it, given you've had like 1,700 hours in the
Well,
early access
I've
version.
not. So Satisfactory, they've been releasing or working through releasing update 8 for it since about maybe June. It's been a while, like it's been several months. So I've not played it since they started that process. Because the problem with what happens is that all of the mods I use, they break because they released a new version. And also they're going to Unreal 5.2 with it as well, which is a pretty big change for the engine. So I'm basically waiting until update 8 comes out to the stable early access branch, and all the mods that I use get fixed to work with it. And then I'll jump back into it. I definitely want to jump back into it, but I just want to wait until it's stable again.
Have they made any indication of a 1.0 for that?
Nah, not at all. I mean, they're working on it, but who knows? I don't think it'll be this year.
With 2 months left in the year, I can't see it being this year. I'm thinking halfway through next year, maybe end of next year.
It depends if they do an update 9 and update 10 is 1.0, then you're probably looking mid-year at the earliest. But
so do those updates line up with version number?
Not necessarily, no. But that's
okay.
To me, in my head, it lines up with version numbers. Whether they do that, I don't know. But I'm sort of seeing it. That's how I see it. But yeah.
That's why early access roadmaps really weird me out when it doesn't have the 0. whatever. They just do update 1, 2, 3.
Yeah.
It's like, that doesn't tell me nothing.
Yeah.
RoboCop Rogue City comes out on the 2nd of November. Yeah, 2nd of November as well. I've said it before, I'll say it again. I don't know if that's worth the $75 asking price, but fuck me, that thing's at least the demo is a real surprise. And really, really engaging and really enjoyable. Am I going to buy it on launch? I don't know yet.
Not at that price, no. Is my short answer.
Yeah. I think $50 is a really good launch price for it. But I might still buy it on launch because I'm an idiot. I really, really dug that demo way more than I thought I would. There's a fucking real-time strategy Smurfs game coming out. What the hell?
Yeah, Talos Principle on the same day.
There is
2nd November.
Thirsty Suitors is also out on the same day. Another Annapurna joint. Which could be interesting. How much interest do you have in EA Sports World Rally Championship?
None.
Alright, cool. WarioWare comes out on the 3rd of November. New WarioWare game. Hopefully it's good. Probably won't be. Ebenezer and the Invisible World, which is that Christmas Metroidvania that was announced during an Xbox show.
Okay, take your word for it.
It was either that. It was one of the Keeley ones. Do you remember the Invincible?
I'm looking forward to that one. Yep.
That will be on the 6th of November. I actually forgot that was coming out this year. Not that it's a big release for this year, but it's just the Switch port and the Steam. I think it's going to Steam of Salt and Sacrifice, which is the 2D Souls game. They're doing a Risk of Rain remake, but I don't really care. Do you?
No.
Yeah, I was going to say. Why the fuck are they bringing out so many Double Dragon games? That's weird. Like a Dragon Gaiden, the man who erased his name. Coming out on the 9th. That's a side story. That is not
a main
new main entry.
Yep.
Infinite Wealth is the new main entry game. That's January next year. Modern Warfare 3 on the 10th of November. You in?
Yeah, I'm maybe not on launch, but I plan to buy that and play the campaign and return it.
I enjoyed the beta. I enjoyed the beta when I played it, but enough to pay $110, $120 for it? Probably not.
No.
Given how much else there is. A little game called Broken Roads on the 14th.
Let's go back one more. There's one game on that list that is very interesting, and that's The Day Before.
Yeah,
So this is the game. This is a game that actually had a different name, which I've now completely forgot what it was called. It was called. The bloody Bucca Beauty Capato doesn't have it in it.
Oh, there was some trademark issues.
Yeah, this has had a really bumpy development process.
Mm.
And the developer of it, this Fantastic or whatever it's pronounced, they have this concept of volunteers that work for nothing, and there's really weird stuff about this game. It did have another name.
Dayworld.
No, it's another name. It had another name before that, I
Oh,
think, as
okay.
well. And it was at one point the most wishlisted game on Steam. That was this game, and it came out of a demo, like a vertical slice CG trailer kind of a thing,
Mm.
very much like in the style of the Division, that kind of look and feel to it. Um, it's gone through a whole bunch of stuff. It had a the name. Its original name was the name of an app in South Korea, I think, or China. I can't remember where it was. They launched a
Oh,
trademark
yeah.
dispute against it, which they won. So that's why the name was changed to the day before. Um, yeah, it's had a really weird development cycle. I'm just absolutely fascinated to see if it comes out,
Mm.
um, um, what it's going to be like. Because
Yeah, that's the other part. If I think the question of if it comes out is somewhat being answered, but qualitatively, what state it's going to launch in and whether or not it's any much chop or not.
mm,
Yeah, I actually I saw the day before there. I know it's like people are really looking forward to it, but it's an MMO which I'm not massively big into
oh
MMOs. I
yeah,
haven't really
I
played
have
one
no
before.
intention of playing it whatsoever. I
Yeah,
mean, I'm just interested in when this game comes out. What
mm.
exactly is this thing going to
What
be?
state it launches in
What
and
state it's in? Anything about it? Because it's had such a weird development cycle leading up to
yeah,
it. So yeah, I'm really interested in that. Just not to play it, but just to see what the hell this thing is and how it comes out. But yeah, you're right. In terms of games I will play, Broken Rose is definitely the one on the list for sure.
yep, coming out on the 14th. That's launching on basically everything outside
Mm,
of phones.
yeah.
So that is going to be very interesting. American Arcadia coming out
Mm.
on the 15th.
You didn't play the demo of that. I played the demo of that. It was a very short demo, so it wasn't particularly. That looks really fucking cool. Was we both was sort of.
Mm,
It's a side-scrolling puzzle game basically. Um, yeah, really looks good to that one. Yeah.
yeah. The Last Faith is also coming out on the same day, which is a Metroidvania Souls-like,
Hmm.
where if you use health potions and then you die, you don't have any health potions anymore, which is kind of fucked. Teardown comes out on the consoles on the 15th as well.
Hmm.
On the 16th, Jagged Alliance 3 hits the consoles. Are you interested in trying the console version of that, or?
I might. I'll have to see. But yeah, there's no. Yeah, like you play it on console with a PC, you don't necessarily have a console to play it per se. But yeah.
That is true, yeah. I'm
Um,
still waiting for the next patch that
next
just
others.
adds the ability to buy ammo.
Okay. Yep.
And then I'll be back in on that. Persona 5 Tactica and Super Mario RPG both come out on the same day, on the
Hmm.
17th. I made use of one of those, those vouchers on the Nintendo eShop where you get 2 games
Oh
for
yeah.
135.
Hmm.
I used that to pre-order Super Mario RPG and Mario Wonder. I have not yet played Mario Wonder,
Okay.
but I have it. Um, I want to find out what this Walking Dead Destinies is. Because all you
Mm.
do when you click on it just takes you to the Walking Dead page. That's weird. Um, Last Train Home?
Yeah, I actually played that. A demo of that was out. Part of the Steam Next Fest that was 2 or 3 weeks ago now. Um,
Yes.
so it's interesting. It's like a real. It's a like the gameplay bit is like an RTS of sorts,
Mm,
where you control a small group of units. I think between that you're probably doing sort of Fallout Shelter style management of the train itself. I think, but I'm not really sure. But it looks very interesting. But I think it could be um, what's the word? Quite bit bleak. Like it's like almost like a
oh,
Frostpunk
yeah.
style. sort of story stuff to it. But yeah, it's interesting.
I mean,
I just had to double check that you just mentioned. What game you just mentioned?
Walking Dead
The Walking Dead.
Destinies?
That company, Game Mill Entertainment, is the same publisher of the Donkey Kong game. Donkey Kong
What Donkey
Skull.
Kong game?
Donkey Kong, not Donkey Kong, King, not Donkey Kong.
Oh, that King Kong game that
King
came
King.
out and was fucking garbage.
Yeah, that one. It's the same publisher.
Oh god, this thing might suck balls.
It's a different developer, but it's the same publisher, so who knows?
Yeah.
I thought the name looked familiar. That Game Mill Entertainment, that's them.
So this release list also has Age of Sigmar, Realms of Ruin. I actually played the demo of that on Friday Night Fun a couple of weeks ago. Very much hero-based real-time strategy.
Okay.
You know those missions of South Park. I was about to say South Park. StarCraft or Warcraft, where you have like a very small squad and you got the hero unit.
Yep.
Very much in that sort of realm.
That's sort of actually that sort of description is what Last Train Home is a bit like. That's how so sort of the number of units you control in each of the missions is like 5 at most. Sort of thing.
Okay. Because this thing's saying it draws inspiration from Original War, which is not a game I've played, and Commandos, which I have played some of those briefly, and I wasn't very good at them because they were fucking hard. 12th most played demo during the Steam Next Fest demo. Although whoever edited this Wikipedia entry needs to have their head caved in because they spelled it Steam Next Festival. But you said Blake. Story is a group of Czechoslovak Legion soldiers during the Russian Civil War.
Yeah, as I said,
that's going to be very fucking bleak.
The story is pretty bleak. Yeah. And it's also like all of the in the demo. There might have been an option maybe to change this. I don't know. All of the spoken dialogue was in Czech.
Oh, okay.
It had English subtitles, but it was all Czechoslovakian. Yeah.
I played through Wolong in Chinese with the English subtitles, so yeah.
I kind of liked the bit I played of it. I really did like it, so I'm intrigued to see how it will come out. I'm just intrigued as to what you're doing between the on the ground missions, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
So yeah, there's even bits where you would send units out but not control them. They would come back and have sort of like we came across a such and such. What do you want to do? Kind of a thing, and based on whether it was random generations, whether you succeeded or otherwise, or I think maybe based on what units you had in the platoon that you sent out might have made that successful otherwise. I think so. It had a lot of little mechanics in it, which I think makes it a really interesting game to look at. Whether it's, I'm just not sure what you're doing between, because it sort of implies that when you look at the demo, the video of it, sort of implies that you are managing the train and sort of doing Fallout Shelter style, adding adding bits to the train to make it
rooms and shit like that.
That sort of stuff is what it looks like, but I don't know if that's what actually was. I didn't get into that in the demo. I'm not sure if that was. I think it was not part of the demo sort of thing, or it wasn't. Yeah.
They're mentioning of command. Have you ever played Commandos?
No, not. I did a remaster like a while back. I think I played a bit.
They've remastered the first three of them.
I think I might have played one of them. I didn't really get into it much, but
I was going to say, like, the stealthness of it and all that sort of deal seems like it'd be up your alley a little bit with the me style.
Yeah, that's right. That's why I played it, because of that sort of had that connection. But yeah, I think because of to be honest, I think it's because the games were what the original.
Way more brutal.
Yeah, it was way more brutal. I think it's also not that it was brutal. It was that I think because the game was so, I guess this is going to sound really bad. The game was so old, I couldn't figure out how to play the fucking thing. It was the mechanics of it were a bit obtuse to me, and I couldn't quite.
That's what I mean by brutal, not violent wise, but just difficulty wise and like sort of archaic in what it actually is. I mean, that's a 20-plus-year-old game or franchise at this point.
Exactly.
So
yeah.
The last thing I'm going to say, that from possibly interesting point, Grand Blue Fantasy Versus Rising, the next one of those, which that first one was very pretty, but I never played it.
Yep.
First half of November, I mean, even up to like the 17th to an extent, pretty big. and then the last couple of weeks you get a real lull towards the end of the year. Oh fuck! I forgot Avatar was coming out this year.
December's actually not that bad.
It's not as quiet as it normally is. I really only have 4 games in there I'm sort of interested in.
Well, that's more than what you normally would expect. Like normally December would be freaking nearly empty essentially of any games you're interested in. But the SteamWorld Build obviously is the big one, probably for you and I. I'm actually interested in that Avatar game, to be honest.
That's 2.
It does actually look decent.
I've got 4 that I'm interested in December. Let's see if you can pick the other 2.
I'm going to guess you're going to probably... Oh, you wouldn't go the Warhammer game, would you?
That is the third one I'm interested in because it's going that sort of CRPG sort of...
Okay, yeah.
The disco sort of vibe to it.
The fourth one. Interesting. The fourth one. Not that one. Maybe the Kingpin Reloaded, that one?
Well done.
Yeah, that's the only one, the 3D Realms game. That's what I thought it might have been. Yeah, alright.
Yep. That's a remaster of the Gangster first-person shooter, and you can basically like set different keys to be positive and negative cussing or things at people. So you walk up on a dude and you go, "Fuck is your problem?" And they'll start swinging a lead pipe at you. But yeah, some decent stuff coming. I think we're well and truly past the.
Yeah, we're past the
massive
AAA stuff you would expect, sort of stuff. But
Avatar's really the only AAA one left this year outside of the Mario RPG. Maybe the Persona 5 Tactica for Atlas, but that's the same day as Mario RPG. But anyway, real quick, must listens. Carnifex, Necromantium, Cryptopsy as Gamora burns, Dying Fetus, make them beg for death, and End the Sin of Human Frailty. Some very, very good, heavy albums there. I haven't quite listened to the new Gaslight Anthem album, which is very different from those 4. There's a feature from Bruce Springsteen on that Gaslight Anthem album, which might be a bit weird for most people to hear me thinking about listening to. And this coming Friday has like 4 fucking massive or like really heavy things I'm looking forward to. So we'll see how that goes. Anything else?
Nah, that's it for me.
Nah. Next Friday. So nothing else really. Wait, are we doing anything after we record this one?
No.
So no other videos hitting this week till Friday Night Fun on Friday night. If you want to catch it live, twitch.tv/Enemy Starship. But keep an eye on your YouTube. We'll be doing some video stuff next Sunday. Cities Skylines 2 is looking like a good option. And we'll see how we go on that for anything else. But for now, it's fucking gonna be November in like 2 days. What the fuck? It's fucked up. Like, this year has felt extremely long, but it's also gone by real quick too.
Yeah, parts have just gone really quick, for sure.
Yeah, it's really weird. It's totally bizarre. Anyway, Graham Banks.
See ya. Thanks for having me.
There we go. I was wondering if you were just going to do that. I'm like, you do realise that there's people who listen, so you might want.
I'll say something. Yeah.
Yeah. Good job. Thank you for listening and for watching and everything else. And goodbye for now. Graham, push the button.
Bye.
Goodbye. Come back. Come back. Buh-buh.